well, who are your witnesses and what are your exhibits? I'm like, I don't know. I've been in jail. Like,
Yeah.
what exhibits do we need? The government has to show a dangerous environment. There's nothing that I don't need an exhibit. I have witnesses. And they're like, well, let's just get the case ready. We'll do a continuance for 10 days and then we'll do it. So we're like, I guess 10 days later, I show up to court and my lawyer looks at me and she goes, what are your exhibits and where are your witnesses? And I said, excuse me, that's your fucking job. Like, and I had been in contact with this woman. Like, I had spoken with her between hearings.
What's like an example of like, what was she supposed to have had in that time?
I don't know what exhibits she would have done, but like, this is her thing was, let's do a continuance so we can get some exhibits and witnesses together.
Okay.
I had the same witnesses. Actually, I didn't have the same witnesses because I think I would have had another witness at the first hearing than I was able to have. But I had the same witness list of potential people and the exhibits were the same, which is the government has to show. That's the exhibit, is the government has to show something. I don't have to show anything. There's not like an exhibit I can show you to show that something didn't happen. So I'm like, what the fuck do you mean? And they had no preparation done for the case. They hadn't talked to a single witness. They barely had talked to me. They hadn't prepared an exhibit. They hadn't read any reports. They had nothing. I had to effectively represent myself, but I had to fight with my own counsel to do it. It was fucking embarrassing. Those two lawyers get appointed to every child custody case in the county. Every single one gets one of those two lawyers.
If they argue too much, they lose business.
I wouldn't allege that. That would be insane to allege that the hand that feeds them is the government who chooses to appoint them to every single case. And that's their exclusive
you live in, like,
practice.
Hazard County? What the fuck is going on there? How are two lawyers in charge of all the child custody shit?
There's not that many people in the county. The total people in the county is about 50,000. I've had live streams bigger than this county.
Yeah.
So like that's how like small the actual population is. But all of them, all I could think though is like, well, I'm a lawyer who speaks English. And so I know what's fucking going on. Like when people are talking in the courtroom, we have a pretty high Hispanic population, a pretty high Somali population. I can't imagine how fucked over they get by these lawyers. Cause I'm sitting there like, so one of the things I mentioned online that people kind of misunderstood, I asked my lawyer, unrelated to what we had going on in any of the particular court hearings, but I asked my lawyer to get a recording for me. I said, I'm entitled to that recorded conversation. And she said, they don't usually like to do that. Yeah, I'm not joking when I said the government has a recorded conversation with me and I want it because I can have it. Right. She goes, they don't usually like to do that. And I said, it's required by law that they give me that conversation that they have.
It's such an odd way to phrase that.
So I said, your job is to get that. So ask for it. And I asked for it and they didn't give it to me for fucking ever. They actually did not respond to my lawyer's request. It was true. They didn't like doing that. Yeah. But she's like, well, why do you want this recorded conversation? I said, well, because they might want to use something I said in the conversation. And I want to make sure that if they do that, we're able to counter with what was actually said. Because I know what I said and I know how the government works. They'll take something out of context. It's called the rule of completeness. And she goes, what's that? And I said, I'm sorry, what's the rule of completeness? She says, yeah. And I said, well, if they use like a piece of evidence against you, like a portion, like let's say you write a book and they use one sentence out of the book, but there's surrounding paragraphs that make the sentence kind of important or change the meaning of something. The rule of completeness allows you to introduce enough evidence to complete the actual fact that you're going with. And she goes, in all my years of practice, I've never heard of the rule of completeness.
That's not.
And I about put a fucking gun in my mouth, dude.
God.
She had no idea. She didn't know the actual rules of evidence, the basic rules of evidence that exist. None. She did no preparation, didn't talk to me about the case at all, didn't do anything.
Yeah.
It was
You got paid
fucking
though.
not by me, thank Christ.
Yeah, by the government. That's fucked, man.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it's been fun. It's been especially fun, like, because there's this Kiwi Farms account, Minnesota Public Records, and they keep releasing documents from my case. And then what
Yeah.
happened is like the case got sealed. So they ran out of documents to release. So they had to break up the last one into multiples because they're like, but the thing is they're
Okay,
milking this
so it's not a
document.
cop? I figured that was a cop. I guess if they don't have
I
access
have
anymore, then
I
they
have
don't.
no
They're
idea
not.
who it might be.
I
None
have no
at
idea who
all.
it might be.
None. But no, so the thing is they only have access to a couple documents and then they don't have any more. And so they've been trying to milk this last one, which means that the document they're releasing is the transcript from a hearing that happened on June 7th, but they're releasing it in parts. And so
Oh, okay. So they're really fucking everybody up because
well,
everyone's
right.
on a time delay now
And the
for
funny
Kiwi
thing
Farm.
is they're like, oh, this is stupid. This is really going to fuck Nick over. And it's like, wait, but like, I know my kids are back.
Yeah.
Like, so like, oh, Nick's really going to get fucked by this. Like, well, that didn't happen. The funny thing is I know it didn't happen because I remember when the